Hey everybody, Richard here for InvisaGig. We've finally introduced a feature for remote access anywhere in the world between two different devices on a encrypted tunnel point-to-point connection using a service called Tailscale. And Tailscale is free for anybody that wants to use it, so it's not a paid feature. It's not something that you have to do anything extra to access. We've incorporated it into the InvisaGig finally after lots of testing, and it is awesome. How do you get it set up though? Let's find out. So first, if you already know about Tailscale and you don't need to learn how to get an account or get signed up with an account or anything like that, or get set up on Tailscale at all, you can skip forward to the part where we just set it up on the InvisaGig. But for everybody else, you'll need to get set up on Tailscale first so that you can get your first client or your first node put on your tailnet using a laptop or even a mobile phone. If you'd like to have a more thorough tutorial, you can head over to youtube.com. And then if you type in Tailscale, you'll see that the Tailscale channel is the first thing that should pop up on your search. Click on their channel, go to their videos, and they have tons of videos on things that you can do with Tailscale. It's actually really awesome. And they have a really good first time setup video as well for setting up Tailscale for the first time. And I believe it's called Tailscale Get Started in 10 Minutes right here. This video is a really good video on how to get set up with Tailscale and a few different features that you can use. And quite honestly, their YouTube how-tos are fantastic. I recommend checking them out. Even if you do know about Tailscale and you haven't seen these videos, they put out great content on how to use their product. So now I'm logged into my account, and you'll see here that I am connected to my tailnet. I'm already set up in here and logged in on this account. You'll need to make sure that you log in yours and authenticate yours on your account. Again, the details for how to do all this is on their YouTube video. It'll make this video much longer, but be redundant. You can watch their video on setting up your account. The important part is that you know where to get this information from, and you see that it's the same process for everyone to create an account, install it on a device like a Windows device, and get ready to add your InvisaGig to your account. So we'll do that right now. Going to go to my InvisaGig. Okay, and remember, you need to be on version 1.0.12 at minimum to be able to utilize the Tailscale feature of the InvisaGig. That is the version that added Tailscale to the InvisaGig. My particular unit, I'm directly connected via Ethernet. I'll go into connection configuration settings, option 4 currently. And here you'll see option 6 is Tailscale. Click on that. And it says Tailscale is not currently configured. So would you like to configure the connectivity? Yes, no, back, or exit? Of course we do. Enter the desired tailnet machine name. So your tailnet that you're going to log into, it needs to know the name of the device. We automatically put in a name for you if you don't want to choose one. We put one in by default that starts with IG for InvisaGig. That way you know that it's your device. And then there's a series of numbers that makes it unique to each individual InvisaGig. That way, if you have 2 or more, you don't have to worry about this overlapping with other InvisaGigs. You can, though, choose to rename it. So I'll call mine InvisaGig Test 19. Hit enter. It says we're going to set this machine name to InvisaGig Test 19, and then it's going to start the Tailscale services. While it's starting these services, it's basically creating the interface and setting all the settings it needs to then ask you to authenticate the device to your tailnet. And this is where we're going to connect this to the account that we already created. So Click the link below and choose Re-Authenticate to complete Tailnet registration. So this is a clickable link. Once you do that, it opens up a new page, and this pop-up should come up. If you don't see this, check to make sure that you don't have any pop-up blockers, any kind of script blockers. If you've got a lot of browser security really tight on your browser, that may be blocking some of this. It's requesting to redirect you. And it's utilizing this pop-up for you to physically click and say, yes, I want to authenticate this device. In this case, I say Re-Authenticate. That will then take us to our familiar Tailscale login page. Again, we have to log in utilizing the service that we did. I'm already logged into the GitHub account on this browser at this time. It has not timed out, or I have not logged out. And so I'll just say, yes, I'll authorize Tailscale at this time, and then connect the device. It takes you back and says, you're about to connect this device, and you'll notice on my screen right here, that's what I named my InvisaGig. InvisaGig Test 19 to this particular Tailnet that I've named for my account, and then we'll connect. And now it says logged in but not connected. This is the setting on my account. I have to then go into the back end or the dashboard of my account and say yes, though on the front end I've said I want to authenticate this. I've actually set an extra security setting on my dashboard to say I also need to authorize this on the back end. So if you have multiple users on your Tailnet account, or you share it for any reason, and you want to have a little extra security, you can control who is able to authenticate these, not just on the front end, but more so on the back end. So I have this extra set up, and it says here, however, it can't connect until approved, even though it's been added to your Tailnet. So I'll open my admin console, and then here I'll approve InvisaGig Test 19. You'll see a little green dot here that shows that it sees it. It just needs approval. I approve it, and now it has been approved, and then my private IP for this particular device on my Tailnet is this public IP address, 100.87.109.12. So this is now the IP address of my InvisaGig. So how do we make sure that it is actually up? And this is the coolest part about putting Tailscale on your device. We can go back, we can close these authentications, this configuration, we can just say enter to proceed. It's then going to check your Tailscale status. This says that my Tailnet is connected, and here's the IP address of this device. I'm still physically connected to the InvisaGig. You can see I'm using the local IP address right here. Okay, we can disconnect it if we want. That way we turn this off from inside the InvisaGig settings directly, locally, or we can go back to the connection configuration page, or if we want, exit out and look at our modem info, and it will also show your Tailnet information on the modem status page. You'll see right here, there is the information, as well as this IP address. So what I'm going to do is take that IP address, copy, paste it here, and I'm not going to do anything just yet. I could if I wanted to, because I am connected. I want to make sure that my Wi-Fi is turned on, and it is and connected. I'm going to then disconnect the Ethernet cable from my InvisaGig. This is one. Then go back to the new tab that has my IP address of the InvisaGig on the Tailnet of Tailscale, making sure that my computer is also connected to the Tailnet. Enter in that IP alone. Bitdefender will say, or whatever you have might say, like, danger, danger. Yes, I want to make sure that I go through. No, I don't want to go back. Everything's trying to protect me. This is just because it doesn't have a certificate set up. Again, you're already authenticated. It's encrypted. This is your private network, so it's not a big deal. And then you'll see now, even though my InvisaGig is not connected physically to anything, I am, in fact, connecting to my InvisaGig through the web address of 100.87.109.12. If you want to, you can try it at home publicly, see if you can access that IP address. You cannot, because it's only a secured public IP address for my VPN mesh network that the Tailscale service provides. You'll see here, connected. There's the IP address, and here's the IP address. Now, you'll notice that I had to log in, and this one says, click to reconnect. Okay? This one says reconnect. This one says I am connected, right? But what if I'm remotely connected and someone else is locally connected? Okay? In this particular case, it will ask you if you want to take over the session. And if you do, you have to use the password to do it. And then it'll close out the other session. And this is so that two people on two different browsers or even two different tabs on the same browser cannot be accessing the InvisaGig interface at the same time. This way you don't have two people making settings changes at the same time. You don't have two people accessing at the same time. So you will know when you're in the interface whether or not someone else is trying to access the interface, because it'll boot you off. Now, it's not the same thing as it reconnecting due to disconnects, but if you're fighting back and forth and getting disconnected in this way, you'll know that potentially someone's trying to get in through your interface, and that's only because you've shared your Tailscale login credentials, or you're an MSP and you're working on a remote unit somewhere and someone locally is also logged in. And so you can tell when they're doing that. And then once you're logged in remotely, you can then do everything you normally do on your InvisaGig settings, like check your live signal and see what's going on with your live signal on that site that you're logged into where your InvisaGig is. You'll see here, I'm on T-Mobile band N25 and it's connected to N25 and 41. And indoors where it's at, I get pretty terrible signal. But I'm doing it remotely on an InvisaGig that is not connected physically to any network. It's only on the cell network. And that's it. Tailscale remote access, secure, encrypted, private access to get and stay connected to your InvisaGig anywhere you are, anytime you want to. This has been Richard for InvisaGig. Enjoy. Take care.